Okay, well, I'm assuming that sounds okay to everyone because no one has complained yet. Okay, so today I am going to work on drawing some traps. It's something that, like, we've had a few turrets and things in the game, but we haven't done as much work on the traps as we should have. I had to restart my Finder window, so it's going to take me a second to get to where I need to go here. Yep, just upgraded. It's okay. There are a few weird things that keep kind of, like actually nice things that I'm just not used to, like how it has the menu bar here for well on all three of my monitors, and so I'm used to like going to one specific monitor to have to mess with that. But then it's also the fact that it has different menu bars like depending on like what application is in focus on different monitors or something like that. So I've got like Finder in the menu bar over here and Photoshop in the menu bar over there, and stuff like that. So it's kind of weird in that way. Okay, let me turn a bunch of stuff off because I don't need all this junk. Just need a somewhat fresh file. Okay, this is probably good to start with. And I wanted to grab this because this is a turret that it can be seen in the game, but I think is somewhat rare at the moment. And let's grab a couple switches while we're at it. So if this is your first time watching a live stream, I'm Ryan Baker. I am the artist on Delver's Drop, which is a 2D action RPG for PC, Mac, Linux, and eventually for iOS, Android, and Ouya. Let's see, there's a question about can tables have stuff on them. Right now they can't. I would like to eventually at least decorate tables, but it would be really nice if we could put a book or some sort of object like that that you can walk up to and press the interact button to like read a note or a book or something like that. So gonna get rid of some of this stuff. Okay, I think we're good to go now. Save it as a new file. Okay, so what I'd like to do is make some new traps, and I'm not sure what zone these are going to go in yet. We'll probably put a couple in zone 1 eventually, but basically some traps that are kind of like, we have had some turrets and then have this sort of crossbow turret in the game right now. Like I said, kind of rarely, but so I may work on a few more turret types, but I'm also thinking about sort of automatically moving very limited AI trap object. So something like there are those kind of spikes in Zelda, like the little spiky face dudes. They probably have a name, and I just don't know what it is. So they would kind of look like a little ball with these eyes and then blades on the sides. That's basically what I'm thinking of. So doing some things like that move either when you get in their sort of pathway along which they can move, so they're triggered by some sort of line of sight or proximity, or some that just move automatically. So just or like I guess another example from a different game would be the thwomps in Mario. That once you walk underneath them, they thump down on top of you. So that would be, similar movement, but obviously top down, having some kind of a trap that is on one side of the screen and slides across. I mean, that's basically what these spikies or blades or whatever they are would do. So, and yeah, as far as there was a question about rearming crossbows. What I would like to eventually do is, well, I want to visually distinguish all of these traps and turrets so that you can see them and immediately know what their behavior is going to be. Because right now in the game, I think there are a couple of different, behaviors, if you want to call it that, for crossbows, where I think there are some of these that won't reload, they'll just fire and they're done. But then there are some you can press a switch and they'll shoot over and over again. So there's, and both of those mechanics are or can be interesting. So what I'd like to do is kind of build these traps and turrets out of some recognizable components that, for one, we can reuse. So we could have several turrets with the same. I mean, let's say if it's a turret that can fire multiple times, it has some kind of a a box or like a feed on it or something that shows I can shoot multiple shots, sort of like a feed of bullets. So either a clip or a chain or something like that with multiple ammo bits on it, or if it's switch operated, having a wire going into the ground or something like that, so that you can see this is triggered from somewhere. And yeah, so beta build to anyone who wants it, because we've been hit up on Twitter basically every day and in other places. Hopefully coming tomorrow. So yeah, I was actually, if I had a screenshot, I would show you guys, but I was just wrapping up the jail. Actually, hey Kobe, you want to shoot a screenshot of the new jail and send it to me, and I'll throw it up on the screen? Because I can't easily access it from my Mac.
Screenshot sent to you?
Yeah, just send me a screenshot of the jail.
I was listening. See, I'm behind. I'm 5 seconds behind.
Oh.
So I got in between.
Yeah, sorry. Kobe's listening on the stream, and so there's a delay, and I was talking to him across the room, and he was probably hearing both voices. So, anyway. Okay, so I'll start drawing now instead of talking the entire time. Okay, so we'll keep this little guy over here so we remember him. And I made myself a list that I probably won't show you guys because it has way more trap ideas than we will end up doing. But it kind of boils down to how do I move? Am I on a patrol, or do I follow the player freely, and variants in between? So you could be on a horizontal track, so to speak, and track the player. So players, I don't know if you guys can see me, but here, I'll just draw on the screen. So this is my little spiky guy, and he's got a track that, an imaginary track that he can move on from here to here, or maybe these are just walls and he can move in between. So it's if the player moves here, does the track then, does the trap then slide over on his track and try to stay in your way, and you basically have to destroy it to get through, or does this guy just move back and forth zip, 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 on a rhythm or something like that. So so I have a list that I wrote up, and it kind of gets weirdly abstract because it's sort of what's the difference between a patrol and fixed movement direction. So a horizontal patrol is really the same thing as being only able to move on the horizontal, but then it gets weird when you get into a patrol that's on a shape-based patrol, essentially. So I think what I probably will do is just say there are some that actually have a like a little track in the ground that they have to follow, um, and I'll just make it based on some kind of a center point, so that we could actually make like little rectilinear tracks. I'll let Kobe jump in if this is a problem, technically speaking, but. Let me catch us on some comments. Crumbling floors, they are not in, unfortunately. Let's see. Yeah, so the someone was asking about the inventory. We're getting really close, and I think Kobe's answering the comments, but I'll just answer for the sake of people who are listening in. We're getting really close on inventory. We were hoping to have it for this build, but it'll come in the next build. So basically, the big bonus for this build will be some improved character kind of handling and physics properties, as well as a new reel or reeler jail. So I drew some actual jail, kind of like cages, and so ideally, like when we finish it up, the characters will be sort of inside these cages, and you can walk up with the jailer, unlock it, and they'll come out. I mean, we'll probably just have to do like a screen fade sort of thing, but basically letting a character out of their cell. So kind of like it happens now, but much prettier and more, I guess, narrative-ish. So we'll say there's something like this for a track, and it would probably terminate in something like these. So this would just terminate in like a little knob to show that the enemy stops there and can turn around or whatever. So actually this, yeah, I'll just put it here so it could go back and forth between these two tiles vertically, and then over, down to some other stopping point over here. Oh yeah, as far as like drawing the straight lines, I do that a lot. Like you can start drawing and then actually hold shift and it converts to a straight line. So yeah, or you can just start holding shift and it'll draw a straight line. So it would be nice if it worked on diagonals as well. You can probably rotate the canvas, but I don't bother to do that very often. Only when I really, really need it. So, yeah, I used to feel guilty, like using rulers and things like that too. It was when I was a kid, like I was really kind of weird and anal about stuff like that. It was like, oh, a ruler's cheating. I have to try to do it by hand. And maybe that actually made me better at drawing, but then like I got into college and my painting instructors were like, why would you do it by hand when you can use a ruler? That's dumb. So it's like, people are like, oh, I can't even draw a straight line, but it's like, artists actually want it to be perfect, so they use a ruler. So I don't even like, I mean, I know some tricks to draw a straighter line freehand than maybe the average person. Like actually, the easier way to draw a straight line is to draw from your shoulder. It's kind of hard to do at this angle, but like drawing with your arms straight out because your shoulder is just like is a pure kind of rotator point. Where drawing with your elbow, like that's easier to draw like an arc or a circle or something like that. But there is I forget who told me this. Maybe even Kobe told me. I'm not sure. But there was a guy who supposedly could draw like the most perfect circle or something, and he would basically take like a piece of chalk or a pencil and hold it straight out and just like rotate from the shoulder. And so it's so there's that legend about I forget which artist supposedly, maybe it was Leonardo or something, drew like a perfect circle for somebody or other. But you have to wonder, like, if that was true, like did he actually just sit down and draw it freehand, or did he use some trick where he drew it from the shoulder like that? So so here's the jail, kind of pixelated, but yeah, so we've got some cages. These aren't the full cages. I cut part of them off and tiled because it was getting in the way. But basically, they'll be something like this big. Yeah, so we've got cages for like the rogue and the sorcerer and the gladiator and other classes eventually. And down here would be the door that goes to the drop, and I still need to work on the drop room. And we've got some areas over here that you'll be able to walk around and explore, but there won't be any actual interaction. So there will be some doors and things like that, but they're for later purposes. I think one of these doors will probably go to like the horde mode area. So instead of like you would be able to just jump to it from the front end menu, or there's like this in game way to do it. So if you wanted to. I still need to add some more torture tools. Yes, I've got a torture table here and here, so we need a few more. But yeah, I just wanted to get the building blocks in and make sure it all worked correctly. And we had a few bugs with layering stuff, so I had to fix a few things. So, but yeah, I kind of wanted there to be this like organic way to go to the horde mode or like one of the four player modes potentially. So if you've been playing for a bit and want to take a break and do something different, you can go to this other mode. Or it might be nice to have sort of like a set of training rooms or a training dungeon that goes. If you go through one of these doors, you can go through a set of like 10 rooms that just help you like practice your skills basically. So yeah, that will be in the build coming up. So, back to traps. So we've got a component for the patrol path, so that's pretty universal. So let's think about what these guys would look like. So I want them to be these sort of they're animate, but they're not like creatures. They're like animated by magic, metalish things that don't really fall into a category that we have currently in the mythology. So, I mean, we have some things that are like elementals, so they're kind of animated by elemental magic, and then there are these automatons that are powered by the Ichor or Merc. So like basically these kind of like elemental watery liquid substances in the game. So basically I need a new category for them. I was thinking that they're essentially just like powered by some form of arcane magic, which would be non-elemental. And I couldn't come up with a better word for it. Arcane sounds really cool, probably a little bit overused, but so I've got to kind of figure out what that would look like. And there's an old turret that we had, and I'll just open that up for reference, because I actually kind of like how that looked. It was in the original PAX East build, if any of you ever played that. I'm going to have to hunt it down. I know this is really interesting. I'll put this on here so you guys can maybe see some tidbits of of a name or something of things you haven't seen yet. Man, I may have to go all the way back to like the old concept art folder to find this enemy. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so this guy. So he's kind of like metallic machinery looking. Has these turret beaks. So there are a few problems with this that I mean the art's kind of cool looking, but there are a few problems I'm wanting to try to solve. And those were, well, one, these turrets, you couldn't tell which direction he was facing. I mean, it's got turret mouths in all four directions, so the idea is it would fire in any direction. But then we were using them to fire in only one direction, so basically we need to do something where, like, the turrets, like, there could be this kind of combination where it's only got two guns or just one gun, and then this guy has these four eyes here. So is there a version that has only like two eyes facing a single direction? And so that's when I was talking about these kind of trap permutations and eyes, and what the eyes look like. This is kind of what I'm thinking of, like using this as a base, or as here's some things we did wrong with, like, using this to only fire in one direction sometimes, that we need to fix with these new traps. And this is also, I changed the perspective on this a little bit, because see, this guy is totally top down, so he looks a little weird next to the character because he looks like he's just sitting on the floor, but we actually want him to be a little bit taller. So I made a new kind of mock-up to show where those would fall. And yeah, I got it almost right. But I would have to pull his cannons in a little bit. To match the template. There, that'd probably be about right. So his eyes got pretty small, but I'll be working to correct that. So I mean, that looks pretty good. If the character stands in the center of the tile there, it looks like he would be shot by a bullet or projectile of some sort coming out of here. So it's slightly raised off of the center point there, but not so much that it looks like it's in the next tile, which is the goal. Okay, so I really kind of like the style that this guy had. He's got some dull metal, and then some shinier metal for this kind of cap. So I'm probably going to use a similar like metal plus a little bit of like purple kind of color scheme. And this guy, because he was a flame turret, had this sort of flame turbine of sorts and the little flame bits on the top of his head, to show that he has this internal kind of fire energy. So okay, so I'll start with the basics, because we need some kind of a trap that would just move back and forth and hurt you when it hits you. So I was thinking that we probably want something that has blades, or something that looks kind of like damaging components on the side. So kind of like this Zelda guy. Let's see. probably, I need to make his point a little bit above the ground so he doesn't look like he's completely sitting like right on the pavement. So I'm going to move that up a little bit, but not as high as the turret would be. So yeah, basically this is going to be like a street sweeper blade guy. Now that I think about it, that would be kind of a cool name for some of these traps. Just call them sweepers, because if they're patrolling back and forth like that, that makes sense to just call them that. As I mean, it would be kind of like a colloquialism, like the Delvers would just generally call them sweepers. Like, oh, watch out for the sweepers in Dungeon 3. Sounds kind of interesting. It's like just mysterious enough, but is an easy word to remember. Just trying to get all my angles to line up here. And yeah, someone mentioned that the eyes on the turret look a bit more like spikes. And yeah, they kind of do. Like it gets a little confusing. Actually, I just realized I got this top kind of cap on his head off a little bit. Should be up about like that. So yeah, I would probably try to make the eyes a little more obvious or glowing like the character's eyes as well. I also wanted it to seem sort of statuesque though, so the eyes aren't like really living eyes. They're almost just like made out of gems, something of that nature. One thing I need to do though is figure out some way to leave a like a gap on the side so you can attack him through here though. So I'll actually just work on the body really quick, figure out like what does the susceptible part look like. Um, I was thinking something kind of geometric like this guy. Um, but it's, this guy definitely looks armored. He looks indestructible. So, the question becomes like, what would be in here? Like something that isn't flesh, isn't a monster, but looks like it can be hurt. So I was thinking about maybe something that's kind of crumbled or like made out of what looks like rock or maybe even just coal. Um, Almost like this is the power source inside of here, and if you break this lump of coal, then it loses power. So this would be some sort of a magical substance. I had a term called plasmacite that I was throwing around for like a substance that was kind of like elemental coal that could burn with it could burn with like the fire element, but it was something purer than our normal coal and could actually burn, so to speak, with any element you hit it with. So if you hit it with surge, then it would basically like be enveloped by the surge element. Um, uh, Someone was asking about cogs. I mean, yeah, might do some kind of machinery looking stuff. That could be pretty cool. Um, the problem is I start running out of space to put things in here, because we're dealing with only one tile of space. I'm wondering actually instead of doing these, if I should do something that looks more like a jaggedy, I don't know, like a similar look, but something that with some multiple points on it. Um, I don't know. It's not working out all that well. I do kind of like this coal-like core though. Um, so I guess basically like everything might have some kind of a coal core, but if it's blocked on all sides, then you can't hurt it. So if there's either blades or armor on all four sides, you can get to it. Or something like this guy. Would be, he has armor surrounding it completely, and so he would be indestructible. But if we did a version of him that only had some pieces, so let's take those pieces, and that didn't work out so well. Layer those up. So something like this with this coal center. Maybe you'd be able to destroy him as well. Of course, the feet also make him look like he's armored, but so try this. it keeps I keep leaving little gaps. The colors are similar enough; it just tries to fill everything. So this guy would probably need a bit of revision. I mean, I think that and the feet make it look like he would be impervious. So I'd probably do something other than the armored feet for his base if he was destructible. And I probably want to make this look more like it has cracks in it, so it's more obviously destructible as well. And might be kind of cool if it's like it was glowing a little bit from the inside. So if this were like a neutral, just purely arcane, magical component, it would just glow with like a bluish white color. Something that doesn't resemble an element too closely. Of course, this guy, since he was designed to be a fire elemental turret, we would probably just throw some kind of a fire particle effect on top of this lump of coal or plasmacite or whatever we call it, so that it would look like there's it's fiery instead of just purely arcane. So we'd have little bits of flame coming up off of it, possibly some kind of a red glow, that sort of thing. So this, if it were a like elementally charged piece of this coal, then you would probably have to hit it with an opposing element in order to destroy it. So, and yeah, there's some people were talking about supporting the game, but the Kickstarter's over. But yeah, we actually have pre-orders up on our site. Someone just posted it in the comments thread, but it's also just on the stream in the bottom right corner of the video there. And actually, you can start playing it tomorrow if you pre-order. So yeah. So I would obviously encourage all of you to do that. The game's still very early, like it's still not in a true, what we consider a true beta state, but you are, we encourage everyone to, if they want to play it at some point, like start playing it now, give us feedback on the forums, which are just forums.pixelscopic.com, and help us make it into the best game possible, and obviously jump on live streams like this and give us your feedback as well. So if anyone missed it too, we did change the estimated release date for the final version of the game to sometime next spring, kind of in the March to April zone. But that's, again, like you can start playing it right now. That's just the, final kind of release date for 100% complete, like, hey, the game is done. Yeah, someone mentioned Shovel Knight in the comments, and I'm definitely looking forward to that one too. I mean, anything that is Mega Man esque is well, also like Mighty Number Nine, which was on Kickstarter recently, is Keiji Inafane's Mega Man remake sequel. I don't, whatever you'd want to call it. Basically, the one of the creators of Mega Man, his follow up to the Mega Man series, even though he's no longer with Capcom. Those are two games on my kind of watch list or must play list. Um, I'm also kind of interested in Shantae by WayForward, which was recently succeeded on Kickstarter. Um, I've never really played the Shantae games very much, but they have really nice art and animation. I mean, WayForward is known for having amazing hand-drawn animation. Spiritual successor, that's probably what I was trying to say. And Project Phoenix, I actually just heard about Project Phoenix today. I think I saw a Polygon article about it. I completely missed the Kickstarter. Um, Looks like kind of a tactical JRPG, sort of like a Final Fantasy Tactics meets Lunar type of battle system. But you can interact with the terrain and some cool stuff like that. So it's kind of like that. That is basically like the one game I would like to make. I mean, that kind of game, a turn-based tactical game, maybe off the grid. So something like Skulls of the Shogun, but in a fantasy world or maybe someday a Delver's world. We'll see. Um, I guess something else to talk about. I just started playing the new Batman Arkham game, Arkham Origins, which I didn't get super far into, but it seems pretty good so far. It got a kind of mediocre review on Polygon. I think it was like a 6 or a 7, but I mean, it seemed like I liked a few of the additional items. I mean, not that I'm reviewing it right here, but I thought there were a few cool additions, within the first few minutes that it was like, oh, I kind of wish the previous games had this, but I actually really did not like the structure of Arkham City. It was just way too open, and I found myself just wanting to try to collect all the doodads and forgetting about the quest or mission I was on at that point, and it felt like Arkham. I mean, the original Arkham Asylum game, the first one. I liked how it told this story in a very constrained space and kind of led you around. And I mean, I guess I've never played open world games that much, and there's definitely something to be said for uh, like the freedom of open world. But I think you lose a lot of storytelling power when the player can basically like run anywhere and do anything, and like you're getting phone calls from Zaz, who's trying to murder people as you're like chasing the Joker, and you feel like, oh, I've got to take this phone call even though I'm basically in the middle of chasing a supervillain around the city. Because if you miss it, it's like, oh, well, if I miss it too many times, then this person gets killed or whatever. So, and then obviously because it's a game, you can just put a mission on hold, and it's usually not going to penalize you. You can just like pick it right up again. It's like the villain was just sort of waiting for you down the street, which is I guess an RPG trope as well. There was that. There was this really awesome RPG tropes list way back in the I guess that was the 90s when I was in high school. On I think it was on the Gaming Intelligence Agency (GIA). Either that or RP Gamer. Not sure which. There's probably one on RP Gamer now, because I think it was some of the same. There's some of the same people who work for work or worked for those sites. And actually, I doubt that Doug Hill is on here, but I think he contributed to it. So shout out to Doug, even though he might not be listening. But yeah, I think I printed it off because it was so awesome. It's like, the tropes like, okay, the hero's village always burns down, at the beginning of the game, but then there's also like, oh, I have this desperate quest, the cave is collapsing and we have to escape, very, very soon. But you can basically walk around and raid a bunch of treasure chests before, anything happens, and then it's like the moment you step outside, goes to a cutscene and the place collapses. So it's this idea that you have a time limit, but you really don't. Hopefully, I'm sparking a little bit of conversation in the comments thread. I'm actually not reading it at the moment, so I should probably catch up. Anarchy away. You guys can comment whatever you want. I just probably won't catch up with it if you go way off thread or way off topic. So I know I said I would work on traps, and I sort of got sidetracked on this piece of coal that's the core of the trap, but I will try to get back to them in a second, like the actual traps themselves. Lumps of coal are cool though, right? Right, guys? Right? No, maybe not. Cool for 5 seconds. Kobe question: Will they be able to break tables? Yeah. Well, I mean, the tricky thing would be if you. Well, okay. So if you break a table in the game, do we want it to like break in half and it's now two objects, or should it just explode into a million splinters? I mean, the way I would probably want to do it is like you can't just like whack 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 and then suddenly it just falls apart. It's like you have to nail it with something that's doing like 20 plus HP damage in a single blow. So we could set some property on it where it like regenerates really quickly. So if you like one shot it with 28 HP of damage, then it'll break. But otherwise, you're just gonna like chip 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 and not do anything. I don't know.
We could make a bunch of random decals. And if you, after you hit the board so much, like put a decal on it, like fade it in, so it looks like a car or something. But
Yeah. Well, I would just do animation states in spine or something. But yeah. So we had talked about maybe on any object that's destructible or, I guess like takes multiple hits to destroy, doing some kind of damage state. So we might do a damage state on the table, or if we had things on the table, maybe you'd be able to whack it and those things would fly off. I don't know. That's a little more complicated, but yeah, actually that would be pretty awesome. Like if you could make armor out of things in the game, um, which don't tell is sort of kind of an vaguely an idea for a game that I have. Possibly some future game that we may one day get to if this game does well at all. Um, Sort of like, well, I won't go into details, but basically sort of like armor customization at a higher level than you equipped chainmail, you equipped, uh, plate armor, something a little more interesting than that. So like your armor equipment or customization is a major element of the game. Um, I mean, maybe kind of like crafting, I guess, but I don't like the term crafting. Maybe I just don't like crafting. But I haven't played many games with crafting that I enjoy, and now I say that and I have to out myself because I really haven't played Minecraft for more than like 10 minutes. I would probably like it. I just don't have time. So I guess I probably tend to play games with a bit of story more than anything open world, since I was kind of talking about that earlier. Like, I mean, I know like GTA has a story and all that. Like, I would actually like to play GTA 5, and I'm more interested because it's basically like a criminals and cops drama at this point. It's like it's like The Wire, but in video game form, from what I've read. I don't know how accurate that comparison is. That's just the impression I got from reading a brief description on one website, and I don't remember where it was now. Um, but I am a big Wire fan, or The Wire, the HBO show. Mistake mark. Um, okay, well, that's kind of cool. Might be a little overdone, but we'll roll with it for a bit, see what I can come up with. I might make it a little more dull, actually. Yeah, we'll go with something a little darker like that, and then I might bring the little glowy bits out. Yeah, actually, looking at that next to the character, it's a little, the details are a little small, so I'll have to bulk these up a tiny bit. Um, by the way, if you missed it earlier, we're working on the inventory system and are hoping to have that in pretty soon. It's not going to be in tomorrow's build, but probably in the next week or two. Inventory is going to be fairly limited for a while. We're also working on the effects system, which it will eventually run items. So like you find a random potion and does it heal 1 HP, 2 HP, does it regen or like heal HP progressively over a few seconds? Like that's essentially the effects system. It's like here's a stat, I want to modify it. I want to modify it in this way, like either over time or just a set amount, or I want to multiply it, divide it, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of stuff that will be coming online in the next several weeks. And then at some point, kind of in there, better randomization and new rooms will be getting added as well. We decided to start working on the item stuff first because it was slightly lower hanging fruit than, and like a little bit quicker to get in than the randomization. And we thought, because randomization might take a few weeks, it'd be more fun to continue playing Zone 1 with a few more combat options than have like, just like go on to Zone 2 with not much to do. So look forward to that, or at least I hope you will look forward to that. So anyway, a little better. I think dimming some of these down will probably do it good. So yeah, that now it looks a little bit more like coal. Okay, so let's get back to an actual enemy. And I want to figure out, so, does this trap have any kind of AI, or how does the player determine immediately how, visibly know, like, how does this enemy move? How does it attack me, even if you don't see it moving? Like, how is it aware of the player? Does it just move on an interval? So that's kind of what I want to figure out next. Like, what components can I kind of slap onto this to make it look like that? I'll answer a few questions here. So coal as an object itself. Yeah, I was actually wanting to have chunks of this that you could use as an item, or possibly as a refill. Like, let's say you had a lantern that illuminated the surrounding area, and maybe you could use it as an item to do a little burst of flame, just like a very short distance in front of you, kind of like in Link to the Past. Then you'd have to pick up these little pieces of coal to sort of recharge the lantern's uses, or the time frame it can be used. There's a question about, has the dev team changed general workflow to accommodate the Kickstarter backer relationship? I might have to have you kind of expound on that a little bit. I mean, we have kind of changed like the way we communicate and some things like that, and I guess talking to and working with the Kickstarter community does affect what order we do things in, and kind of how quickly we try to do things. Like we probably work much quicker having that fire under our butts as opposed to just like, I would probably just draw random stuff with no purpose forever if there weren't a deadline. Because I tend to be that way, but so I'm drawing some kind of a doodad that will fit onto here, and kind of serve as a I don't know, like a casing for, or like an object to build off of, for if this trap has eyes or brains or anything like that. I mean, brains metaphorically, but So yeah, this would be, I guess this would be the body kind of clamping around this energy source of the coal. I was thinking it could kind of look like a little obelisk or a small pillar or something like that. Just can't make it look like I've got to keep it looking top down, which is sort of annoying. Um, I actually kind of sometimes wish we had chosen a different perspective system for the game, and probably Kobe does too, because the 3D walls have been a real pain in the behind. Um, but yeah, it's actually a lot easier to do like, oh, square floor tiles, and then I just have like, here's the wall in the back, where we're doing like square floor tile, and then like the wall is actually pseudo 3D. And so when I draw an object, we don't have 3D objects, and so I have to basically make everything look as top down as possible so that the perspective, well, not matches, but basically so the perspective doesn't clash. So it's like, I'm having to kind of manhandle perspective a little bit to avoid a potential negative. So it's, I mean, there's no good way to do it. It's like you either do like all 3D or you do like true top-down 2D. And I mean, games like Zelda, Alundra, all of those, like they do kind of I mean, they do like a true top-down floor grid, because it's, I mean, that's just how like tile maps are built, is out of squares. And then there's, with Zelda, you have these kind of fake wall tiles that look 3D in every direction, and they're just so shallow that even if on this wall you have an object that, here's the front face of a crate or something, it doesn't look that out of place. But since our walls actually bend and move in 3D, like you start noticing that, oh, this crate in this perspective actually doesn't match the walls in these perspectives. So we've got to try to do as many tricks when drawing these things as I can. Sushi lamp? I don't know what you guys are talking about anymore. Something about Shadows of the Damned and a fish light, aka sushi lamp. I have no idea. There's a video link, but I'm not going to click it right now. So I kind of like the shape. It's a little bit, it kind of feels like a little miniature temple type of thing. Probably need to scale this up though. And this would actually work pretty well with, sticking these eyes on the various sides of it or something like that. And actually, I'm probably just going to draw this. If I make some adjustments to this turret, I'm probably just going to make it so it's no longer top down. So it's just like it's not going to rotate fluidly, or if it does rotate, it's just going to be like the guns that rotate and not the eyes, and that's why it was built this way. So it looks very flat as opposed to if we gave it some perspective or whatever, that sort of thing. Probably need to chisel a bit more of a hole out of this so we can see more of the coal underneath here. So that seems pretty decent. So I think this could look fairly destructible. Might need to also, if it's destructible, differentiate, this the material that this kind of cap body piece is made out of. So like if it's just destructible, put some cracks in it and make it look like it's out of a kind of common metal. It's just made out of tin or something, as opposed to something that's shinier, kind of like a bluish or gunmetal kind of color would be indestructible without the crack too, obviously. So, we do something. I'm just doing a kind of quick mock-up, so I would paint more carefully if I were actually painting this. But yeah, I mean, between those two, the shiny one would also have like further armor to seal up this this kind of coal piece in the middle, probably. So maybe something kind of like that to appear like it's got additional armor. Are there comments I should read? So the patrol lines, they would probably just be like tracks in the ground rather than sort of like glowing power lines. It's just like a groove to kind of slide around in, because I guess I was thinking that this piece of coal, would have some kind of glowing. I mean, it's basically like the power source in itself. And also, it would be harder to go around and attach light sources to every little piece of this track, or for the length of it, because of the way our lighting system works. So actually, like a track that can go kind of any directions, like you'd have to place multiple lights and then they'd multiply against each other. So Um, oh, hey Nathan. Yes, spine, keeping spine in mind. Sure, yeah, I do that all the time, right? Okay, so we've got some sort of body. I'm going a little slower than I was hoping to, and I'm actually probably going to have to wrap up in the next 15 minutes or so. But we'll try to come up with some kind of a better form of eyes, and then some kind of blade for these. So I basically at least finished the back and forth sliding blade dude on this stream. I was thinking it would be kind of nice to give these guys maybe some slightly dumber, but also slightly cuter eyes. I mean, I guess cute eyes are kind of dumb eyes. you know, it's interesting things to think about when you're doing character design. It's sort of like, okay, we do like a smiley face here. Like these look, like somewhat intelligent eyes, right? Kind of cute. But if I want to make this even cuter, like let's erase these and put the eyes like very small and out to the sides. So it looks dumber, but also like, I mean, I guess this has some a cuteness factor just because the eyes are kind of like big and bubbly. But see, like, that's even cuter. But you would also say like, I'm smart, like ding light bulb, and I'm like, what? So, so yeah, I'm kind of thinking like slightly dumber eyes on these, so that they, or at least for the ones that are just like straight up automatons that just like bzz, bzz, like have no intelligence, just like try to whack you if you get in their way. Um, so so basically, I need to figure out like if it moves up and down, like should it have eyes on those sides, or how does that work? Like I was actually thinking about having this kind of rotating like faceplate that could like snap to different sides to show like I am moving right, so my faceplate snap, and then I move to the right. I'm also thinking about the those kind of armor. Oh, what would you call them? It's a Mega Man enemy that it sort of has this armored face plate with it's like metal rivets and these angry eyes. I don't know if it doesn't actually have a mouth, I don't think, but then it's got like these rockets in back, and you can only shoot it from behind. um, Something kind of like that as well. um, or maybe I should just make these eyes kind of squarish to give it this mechanical look. um, So they're almost like just kind of neutral. Like they're not really intelligent. They just look like robotic. And then for like let's say an enemy that actually tracked you and tried to like home in on you, it would probably have a pupil or something like this turret does, to make it seem more intelligent or more sharp. actually, now that I'm doing this, I'm thinking this could kind of look like a knight's visor in a way. Have some slits in it. So yeah, something kind of like that. And I'll make the eyes a little bit bigger here in a second. It's kind of interesting, but I'm not really pulling it off yet. These bars are too thin. I mean, I sort of like the idea, but it's not really working. So let's make a duplicate. Or I almost thought for a second, like, what if this were kind of like an LED readout, and we could actually do different animation states based on, like, I know Nathan on here is probably about to freak out because he's the one who might end up animating this, but like different sort of almost LED-like configurations for like whether it sees you or is trying to hit you, or if it's like, let's say this is just like it's asleep, no lights on at all, but then these lights sort of come on when it's active and trying to move or attack. I mean, we were planning on having these sort of active and inactive states for traps and turrets. So I know maybe this doesn't seem very kind of in-world. So actually I should probably just make these look a little less digital somehow. I mean, if these looked more like runes, maybe. I don't know. Sorry, I know I'm ignoring the comments. 1 second, I'll catch up. We'll finish painting. So I'll zoom out a little bit. I mean, that's actually kind of interesting. Like, it looks like eyes, but it's very, like, it looks like it's artificial. It doesn't look like it has living eyes. Let's see. Cubist Smurf. That's nice. Jagged crystal LED matrix. That isn't a bad idea. Just make it more angular. So we'll try some angles in here. Yeah, that's actually a rather good idea. I probably need to do something to make this look a little bit less like sunglasses, maybe. um, Because yeah, it kind of looks like this is. I'm thinking that this looks like a nose, and these look like sunglasses on this kind of weird face at the moment. So I will probably do a little more work. Because it's like you want it to just be to seem like a face or a body just enough without looking like, here, let me just redraw this guy. Like, oh, here I've got a hat and these cool sunglasses, and then like I'm made out of rock and I have a bulbous nose. That's sort of like a bit of the vibe I'm getting at the moment. Like, he kind of looks like that. I mean, which is kind of fun. Like, might be fun to make a this sort of like cutish character that and all the turrets are kind of built off of this vaguely cute sort of thing, which I guess is kind of what I was going for. Probably need fewer fragments in here so they look a little bit more like eyes, maybe. So let me duplicate this one more time. So what if I actually draw these sort of angry eyes, just for the sake of trying this here. And then we actually subdivide these up like that. I don't know. Kind of like the old ones a little bit better. But I like where it's going. Like there's something about it that I don't like, but I think it's partly this nose sort of thing. Like if I did that, it looks more just like random rock. So let's trim this in a little bit so he doesn't have a nose anymore. And okay, so I'm going to keep this guy around because I kind of like the idea of making this turret a little bit cuter. Um, or I mean, I could just actually like put a nose of some sort on here, or like a beak might be kind of cool. I kind of like that. It gives it a little more of a, it makes it look less goofy, like a little bit more menacing, but doesn't really change it all that much. I like having this sort of more triangular look. Again, makes it like a little bit more menacing. Kind of your Assassin's Creed kind of hawk hood look. Um, I think that could probably work. And I can kind of imagine this sort of flipping around to be, on this side, and so you'd see this beak and the glowing eyes, on another side as well. So now I just need to throw some blades on and call it quits for today. So I'm kind of thinking that that it should look like, it has this almost like something bolted on here, like a plate or an arm, or something that has a blade, kind of like what I was drawing before. I'm going way over into the next tile, which isn't exactly desirable, but I can probably cheat a bit. So actually, I think that's going to work pretty well. It looks sturdy, but also a bit delicate and sharp, which is usually the sort of effect I like. Instead of doing these teeth like I was doing before, I'm just going to make like a serrated kind of blade edge on here. And these should probably look like I'll make the base out of common metal just to match. But the blade itself needs to look indestructible, so I'm going to make it look like it's made out of this steel or gunmetal material. Give it some of these kind of shiny edges and so on. And I'm obviously going to clean this up quite a bit later, or maybe pass it off to someone to help me kind of finish drawing and cleaning it up. But and actually, let's put some kind of a backside on here to make it look even a little bit sturdier. flip this to put it on the other side if Photoshop will cooperate with me. Snap. Unfortunately, it doesn't line up exactly right with the with this body piece, but I think that's kind of cool. Looks a little more armored than I was wanting it to. Like I mean, this now it doesn't look destructible, so we might have to do something where, like, yeah, I mean, really, like if I take this off, that suddenly looks destructible. So it would just need some other like little piece of metal to look like these kind of side blades are clamped together with the mask and so on. So yeah, I kind of like that. It does feel like this sort of arcane. It's like not super sinister, but not exactly friendly at the same time. I might do something again with the eyes to make it look a little more like dumb or fun. So let's. Yeah, actually, that's way better. Now it looks like a kooky owl or something. I don't know why changing that one thing. I think just like spreading the eyes out a little bit gave it this more owl-like look. And also, I think subdividing the eyes just in half kind of makes it seem like a pupil as opposed to splitting it a few times, which looks like fragments or a mosaic, which I guess is what I was thinking about at first. But I think this actually works better. Let's make these a little bit rounded, actually. Yeah, so now it's kind of a strange, slightly owlish mask. Highlighted on the top. Highlight a bit of one side here. And like I was saying before, we'll probably also have some other types of eyes, some that look more or less intelligent depending on whether it follows you or just, goes about its own business. So obviously this guy, if he's got a mask on this side, he would probably be built to move this way, which doesn't entirely make sense with the blades being in those directions. So I guess I'd probably, this is a possible permutation, I guess, but if he moves left and right with those blades, I would probably go ahead and just put his face on the right or left side, or probably just both if he can move in both directions. So we would put, some kind of a mask that like overlaps this here, like I started drawing a few minutes ago. It looks like it wraps around a little bit, has this beak, kind of fits over the blades maybe. And that actually works rather well with the, having that little beak to kind of help signify the direction. Like you see it a lot better than if it were just a flat metal plate. And let's see, try to get the eyes fit in here somewhere somehow. So it'd be a little too hard to fit both pieces, so I'll just imagine one of those is getting overlapped. So let's see, and then we need probably a little reflection on one side of the beak. And I will duplicate this. Probably move them up a little. So that's kind of cool. These probably need to be enlarged a little bit. They look a little smaller than the other one. and also just to make them more visible so you can see, oh, it can move this direction. Um, get rid of that. And so like, and I might have to do something else just to, I mean, probably more reflective, like a more reflective highlight on the top here would help. Something like that. And maybe like an additional reflection on the nose. Makes it pop a bit more. So if I imagine these rotated, perspective's going to be wrong, but we'll just try it out here, see what it looks like. So let me put both of these underneath. So yeah, the perspective is kind of throwing me off a bit here. But yeah, if you imagine this guy moving up and down, he'd have this face here with the blade. I kind of like how it almost looks like a giant blade mustache. Like he's, like a Wario mustache or something. But yeah, so then this guy could move back and forth like that. And you could, jump in here with a weapon and break his coal center to destroy him. So, yeah, I think that is probably all for now. So, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next week. I'm doing a live stream every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central Time. Right now we're on daylight savings, but we're about to go off daylight savings, so good thing that'll throw everybody off, huh? I'll make sure I let you all know. So let me check the comments really quick before I leave to see if there's anything I need to address. And oh yeah, this guy would be Two-Face. I just didn't feel like drawing a flipped version up here on the other side just yet. But yeah, he would. Well, do I have something selected? Apparently, this is layered. Way down. There we go. So yeah, he would have a second mask up here. On the top side, just to clarify. So, with a little beak nose. Unfortunately, you couldn't see the glowy eyes, but I'd probably I need to make this even more shiny, or add some little like doodad or something here, so it's more recognizable that the face is on one side or the other. I mean, just something like to kind of make it look like it's bolted on, maybe. Something like that. And then we would put the same thing here. So, bolt that on like so. So, really rough version, but you kind of get the idea. And so, yeah, if it had blades on all four sides, or like this kind of armor on top, it would probably just be invincible, so you couldn't destroy it. You'd have to just try to dodge it, get out of his way. So let's do one quick mock-up, and then I will actually close down. I have so many layers going now, I don't even know where these are. So there we go, indestructible. So you still get the this kind of bladed. Let's put these on here and see what that would look like. Yeah. So I don't totally like the way this looks with the armor. It just kind of looks like it's made out of ice, so it's mainly a color thing. But if we switched it for just that kind of armor with the dull metal, I mean, that might be good enough. Like I like that better, having the blade as this kind of poppier, more saturated color. So yeah, probably needs a little more work, but we're definitely getting there. And I have enough kind of components that I can mess around with, making different face masks to show like, oh, he tracks you versus he just moves back and forth, that sort of thing. So we'll see where it goes. I don't know what I'll talk about next week. Maybe I'll keep working on this. Maybe we'll do something else. But anyway, in the meantime, have a good week.